And welcome back to Retrospect My Fantasy, where we are currently taking a look at the Final Fantasy franchise, and we're working on installment number 13. So, before we actually get into the game, got a couple things to go over. Number one is that we are partnered with Humble. And this is awesome because not only do you get yourself the option of picking up some great games, it's usually some pretty good deals, but you also help support charities. And with that link right there, you help support the channel. So go check out the Humble Bundle, go check out Humble Monthly if you're interested in a subscription service, or if you just want to pick up a game or two, check out the Humble Store. They usually have sales off-cycle from Ubisoft and Uplay, Steam, and Origin on their website, so go check them out. And number two, the thing that we need to go over before we actually get into the game is that on March 31st, Saturday, end of the month, we're going to have ourselves a bonus stream and giveaway where we will be playing Telltale's The Walking Dead: A New Frontier, giving away a copy of that game, along with a copy of Psychonauts, one of my personal favorites, and 3 $20 Steam gift cards. So, if you go to our events page, you can set yourself up a reminder for that if that's something you might be interested in. Now that all of that bookkeeping stuff is out of the way, let us get into the game. So last time we were largely in control of Zaz and Vanille, and we were running through a forest killing a bunch of monsters. And we beat a 2-part boss. And then we were pretty much out of time. We saw Snow very briefly and had a couple more flashbacks. At this point, I'm convinced Snow's no longer in the game. I mean, he was one of the primary characters at the beginning, and then we haven't really seen him in a long time. So, I'm pretty sure he's just gone. He'll be story element, but he won't be playable anymore. Spoilers, I've played this game. No spoilers. Actually, this game is new enough that if anybody has played it, or at least a significant portion of it, like myself, but haven't beaten it, please hold any discussion of spoilers until we hit the credits, or any major discussion of anything we haven't hit up to this point. Hey, Wicked! Thank you very much for the host, sir. How you doing? Because this game is new enough, there's a chance that not everybody's played it, so...
Well, climbing over's out.
Yeah, that would suck.
I don't suppose there's a hole anywhere in this fence.
As it turns out, there is. How's it going, Wicked Man? It's been a while. You've been busy.
We can board the ship over there.
They should really fix that hole. That's a major security flaw.
Huh?
Oh, if only we hadn't just been in the rain. Also, this May-December relationship thing, I don't think it's really going to work out.
Around here it pours, and then it rains some more.
Saz, do you hate posts?
Why wouldn't I? Look at this mess it's gotten us all into. Of course, it's not to say I always hated it. Seemed fishy. All that sanctum ranting about
He's
the threat
far
from
more
Pulse.
open-minded than most people in this world.
Only a matter of time before they strike. Pulse is infested with monsters. Scare after scare. Not even a shred of proof. Tired old cynics like me? We don't just swallow that tabloid crap.
Good for him.
No, not me. I figured the Sanctum was up to something crooked.
I shouldn't say most governments,
At least
but
until
a significant number of governments are.
Yeah.
Or at least politicians. On all sides of the fence.
Now that I think
Or
about
aisle, or
it, all this
whatever
purge business
barricade
really only
goes
happened
between
because
them.
Dodge found that Pulse Fal'Cie.
You're wrong.
Huh?
Don't blame him. It was all...
Yeah, you're right. It was that scum from Pulse behind it.
I might as well have tried to stop the rain. I fought the tears, but they still fell.
Yeah, the nice part
You're getting
about
soaked.
crying in the rain is no one can tell.
I'll be fine. It's only water.
Okay, so their storyline's actually starting to develop a little bit. Oh, her character development is starting to develop a little bit. So when I played this game the first time, I didn't beat it. I got about somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of the way through the game before I just couldn't continue. And the reason I kept playing that long, and I still feel that same pull, is despite a lot of the poor writing for the story elements, the character development is actually pretty good for the most part.
The grip of a pulse-born terror. If we allow the sea activity to continue,
But
panic will rip our world apart. The peace and stability we have fought so hard to maintain.
it just,
will be
back
nothing
then, it
but
just
memory.
couldn't override
Pulse the sea threaten our very way of
the
life.
rest of the issues of the
They
game.
must be eliminated.
But now it's gonna have
There
to,
can be no hesitation.
so.
That is all.
Oh, Bluetooth?
If we fail, our citizens
I mean-
pay the price.
Final Fantasy VII had a cell phone in it, and that was pretty advanced.
Task Force reporting. Begin operations immediately. Sir!
I don't think they called it a cell
We
phone,
can
though.
make it.
I think they just called
Get
it
to
a
the station
phone.
and board the train for Eden.
You think it's still running?
Well, if it isn't, we'll make it run.
But I don't
Then
remember.
punch
Do you
straight
remember what
into
it
the
was?
heart of the
If
sanctum?
they actually called it a cell phone, Wicked?
Now you're thinking like a pulseless sea.
Well, this is Operation Nora. It's not just snow I'm after. The Sanctum's gotta pay too. Hey, you're the one who said we had to fight. Every minute we waste, we're tempting fate.
Oh, that is definitely true.
There's some underground tunnels not far from here. I used to play in them when I was a kid. No one uses the entrance anymore, so even the army doesn't know about it. But I know where it is. We can sneak in under their noses.
We used to play in the
Sounds
sewers as a
Great.
kid.
Here we go.
Were you hoping for to find the Ninja Turtles or something? Why would you play in the sewers?
Huh. No more rivalries now. Psychom's brought in the Guardian Corps.
Okay. There's an old drainage pipe.
Well, we're gonna have to
Use
beat
it
up a
to
lot of the
avoid being
Guardian
seen.
Corps then.
The tunnel entrance is a little further up.
That seems a little painfully obvious for
Follow me!
not yet. We have a whole heck of a lot of experience to use up. And she's going to use it up pretty much all on Commando. But that's her primary class, so that's fine. No, she is, and it's not even going to get it all. Damn. The amount of experience that we are now required to pay off for anything is getting to be untenable with our current XP gathering. Oh, Asuna, yes. We are going to have to find a better way of leveling. Because right now, the amount of experience that we're getting per fight is not spectacular. Well, that was, I mean, not a decent damage percentage, but it did get to the stagger up pretty high. Oh, there we go. So I'm kind of at a weird sort of impasse in that I like the stagger system for the combat, because it reminds me a lot of some of the early Star Oceans, but I don't like the paradigm system. And that I don't like at all. That's not true. It's not that I completely hate the paradigm system, I just think that they could have done more with it. As it stands, it's kind of boring. Also, the fact that we heal after every fight means as long as we're in an area where I don't have to worry about fighting, or at least the enemies, like I don't have to worry about the amount of damage they do.
Nothing personal.
I can just sit here and mash A while talking to you guys. Oh, that reminds me. Twitch approved my new emotes today. Now, I know I just redesigned them to make them slightly different from what they were, but now they're not really readable. Those are supposed to say welcome, cheers, and huzzah, but you can't really tell that. So I'm gonna have to go in and remove the words and then resubmit them, which is a little disappointing, but you know, sometimes designs don't quite come together. And even actually, when I made them, I even on the small scale, when I saw that, I was like, ah, dang it. It's probably not going to show up well, and I'll have to redo it.
There should be another drainage pipe.
Oh well. It is what it is. I mean, I shouldn't be complaining. Just over 2 weeks ago, we didn't have emotes at all, so oh yeah, that guy
That's how it's done.
didn't stand a chance. Only one Guardian Core. And look at this, they're giving us only 32. Each one of these guys is worth 32 XP. Bull. Completely untenable for our needs. It'll get better, especially once we move forward even more. So one thing, although I don't... So I've been using the lackluster gameplay to talk about a lot of various topics, usually related to video gaming in some way. Like we talked about a little bit about development. We talked about a little about development theory, a little bit about gaming journalism, a little bit about storytelling. So I thought that we would talk a little bit about, so far, what it's been like streaming. Because I've been doing it now for just over a year. Oh, okay. Oh, no, I want to fight this guy, so please. Also not true. So, I started back in July of 2016. No. I ended in July of 2016. I started in like April of 2016. And then around July, a whole bunch of personal stuff came up and had to stop streaming, which sucked. And I didn't get back to it until July of 2017. And so initially, when I started streaming, I came up with the idea of... My initial idea was essentially to change the name of the stream every... Holy shit! Every so often, depending on what we were playing.
I've got your back.
That was initially my thought process. The reason I named it Retrospect My Fantasy is because we were doing a Final Fantasy retrospective. And then as we went through each iteration of game, of titles, I would change the title of the stream to reflect whatever game we were playing. But as time went on, as I played through Final Fantasy 1 and 2, I really liked the name Retrospect My Fantasy. So I decided, you know what, I'll just keep it. My initial banner didn't have the generic shield and sword with the title. It was the title in kind of a similar font to what they use on the title page of Final Fantasies. And then it had every Final Fantasies...
And so it ends.
So every Final Fantasy has a key image. Like in 7, it's the meteor coming down. In 8, it's Squall and Rinoa holding each other. In 9, it's the giant crystal. And I had all of those in order on a page and just kind of fit Retrospect My Fantasy into that. It looked kind of neat, but was overall not great.
Time to switch it up.
So when I came back, I decided that I was going to take it a little bit more seriously than I did before and changed my artwork up. And out the gate, when I first played, I think I was about halfway through Final Fantasy 1. Maybe it was halfway through 2. I don't remember. When I got my first follower. And he was showing up pretty much every night, and we would just talk about Final Fantasy games. And it was awesome.
Keep up with me, Hope.
What the hell? So I can't even beat him with my defenses up.
Ends.
Okay. Okay. So am I just supposed to rush down him and build up as much as I can? Alright, let's see. If I don't get it this time, we'll just run past.
Follow my lead.
Alright, so let's start here. And I thought that was like having someone in chat to participate with, I thought was just the greatest thing in the world. Still do. Which is why I have such an emphasis on my screen. I know you can't see it, but my screen proportions, I currently have 3 screens. And right now it is
Keep up with me, Hope.
OBS and Twitch on this side.
Thanks.
And then game right in front with camera right here. Come on. Oh, Hope, you sweet little child, you. Thank God you're a healing savant. And then over here, I have... and on the screen over here, it's kind of split 50-50 between stream preview and stream program. And over here, I have just a tiny little bit of my Streamlabs dashboard. And then a large section that is chat, so it's very obvious when you guys put something in. And technically my stream preview also has the chat up, so I actually have it, as long as I'm not looking straight ahead, I can see chat.
Time to switch it up.
Which is awesome. I love it. Oh, somehow he just wasn't hitting for a large portion of that. I'm down with that.
Follow my lead.
So, when I came back and decided to take it a bit more seriously, first off, the first I wanted to do... Actually, no, that's not true. When I came back because I just wanted to finish Final Fantasy III. I had started it, and nothing really came. Like, I didn't finish it, so I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. I'll come back, I'll at least finish it, I'll post all that footage up on YouTube, and that'll be it for streaming. Because, you know, it wasn't going anywhere. I had streamed for months with only 1 follower. Came back after a year of being gone, mind you, and that guy wasn't even coming back, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. It's been a year. He probably thinks that I've quit streaming, and to be fair, I did. And was kind of planning on quitting again. But when I was playing Final Fantasy III, near the about the middle of it, a whole bunch of people started showing up for my streams, and I was like,
Talk about close
first I
call.
was very confused. I was like, do these people know that I'm kind of doing all of this by the seat of my pants, but that I have no idea what I'm doing?
I think we made it past all the guards.
Yeah, we did. I didn't. And how you doing, Henry? Most of the articles that get pulled up automatically for me by Google revolve around Magic the Gathering. So I did not see. What's going on with Telltale? Do you have a link for it?
Don't worry, it'll be fine. Only kids like me know about that entrance.
They'll find it. They'll call in a team and canvass the whole tunnel system.
Then we better hurry.
So, where's this thing come out anyway?
Well, it
After re-looking into
I
what
don't really know
Kotaku
for
has
sure.
become since I first
We'll find out
started
today.
reading them forever ago, yeah, I don't blame you. Did it seem like actual journalism, or did it seem like an editorial that someone was just
I
speculating?
remember learning about this in school.
because they do hire actual journalists sometimes on top of taking submissions. I've seen actual journalist names that I recall from way back in the day, but those are definitely fewer and farther between. And
This is what it looks like down here.
ah,
Man, check this place out.
I'm not surprised. Some of the stories that I've heard, some of the stories that I've heard is that they're reluctant to change. And this is from individuals who have worked for Telltale. It's that Telltale is reluctant to change, so yeah. And because they're so reluctant to change, their games don't get the treatment that they should. Every once in a while, like, for some reason, the Walking Dead franchise seems to be a high priority for them, because, of course, it was one of their highest profile gaming series. So they tend to take more time with that, but like, what was it? The Batman game was considered okay. The Game of Thrones game was, if I recall correctly, was considered a flop. Tales from the Borderlands was considered pretty good. I never heard anything about Toy Story. I mean, mechanically, yes, they're all the same game, but like, when I say flop, I mean, like, people really didn't like it.
Here.
Woo. But yes, they're all hey, Hope, are you gonna cast some synergy spells on yourself, or okay, good. So now we can go to War and Peace.
Thanks.
But yeah, I'm not surprised that they're having writing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't actually have a high voluntary turnover rate at this point, because writers and developers don't literally want to make the same game every time. They typically want to, you know, have a little variety in their life, like everybody does. And I get from Telltale's perspective, like, why they don't make some of the changes that they're afraid to make, because if something works, you know the phrase, if something's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So this guy is really resilient. The problem is that they've been doing the same thing for so long that, sure, it's not broke, but how many days in a row do you want pancakes? Maybe 2, 3 tops? This is, of course, assuming that you like pancakes. If you don't like pancakes, then that
Keep up with me,
analogy doesn't work at all.
Thanks.
So what was I talking about? Oh, my experience so far as a streamer. So beyond coming back and finding some people that actually enjoyed what I was doing with Final Fantasy III, I was like, okay, well, things are going okay. Let's let's see how things go with flow. Essentially, I decided to play it by ear, game by game.
Come on, Light.
And with every iteration of Final Fantasy, I gained a couple more followers. I mean, our big first goal was 10, which we hit during 6. I want to say, Wicked, you were number 10, right? It was either you or Game Talks Live was the 10th follower, and that was the beginning of our scheduling our first 24-hour stream, which I kind of did rashly. I just kind of asked my roommates for assistance, and fortunately they gave it.
Time to switch it up.
But it was certainly not like well planned out or timed or anything like that. Like, I want to say I did it the weekend after we hit 10. Hope
Keep up with
if
me.
you're not gonna take this seriously,
I got your back.
but yeah, that first 24-hour stream was real bad. I mean, it wasn't bad. Like, it was fun and definitely it garnered a lot of attention across Twitch. I mean, in that stream, we went from 10 to 15. We got 50% more people in just that one stream. And that's when, after that, I decided to push for the next one at 25. Because initially, my thought was going to be 10, and then once we get to 15, we'll do another one. But we hit 15 during that stream, so that wasn't really going to work. And I was dead at the end of that one. We talked about that, and I want to say, Henry, you're the one that pointed out that pasta was probably a bad idea for my primary meal during that stream. And in hindsight, I 100% agree with you. Because it was just, the food was too heavy, and it just wasn't working out very well for me. Wait, did I go backwards? Yes, I did. I went backwards. So maybe I do need to pay attention to the game a little bit. But the pasta was really good, and I had a lot of fun with that 24-hour stream, which is primarily the reason why I was willing to do a second one once we hit 25 followers. And we went from 15 to 25 really fast. Like, I was really surprised at how quickly that happened. Like, obviously pleasantly so, but still very surprised. And that second 24-hour stream, same sort of thing happened. Like, I scheduled it super quickly. I didn't do a lot of planning ahead of time.
Carbuncle.
I just kind of roped a couple of my friends into helping me.
So, kill him and cut off the food supply. That'll make us popular.
I think people have enough reason to hate us, don't you?
The food choice that I had that time was,
You're probably right.
like, I didn't have a
Hungry people
whole
make
lot
for
of cash
angry
on me because that was the paycheck right after paying rent and utilities and that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, well,
Use that as a landmark.
what do we have in our pantries? And we had a whole bunch of beans, and we still had a whole bunch of vegetables, but we didn't really have any, like, meat or anything like that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take off half a day from work. I'm going to come home. I'm going to try and get a little bit of sleep. But before I go to sleep, I'm going to cook up a whole bunch of... I'm just going to throw all this stuff, chopped onions, carrots, celery, a whole bunch of, like, 3 or 4 different cans of beans, a whole bunch of spices into a crock pot, and then I'm going to take like a 4 or 5 hour nap. The idea being, of course, that by the time the nap's over, the food will be ready, and vegetarian chili is not only pretty good for you, it also tasted really good, and it ended up being not, like, it wasn't heavy, it didn't tire me out, and I felt great. It was really easy to make and keep heated all night, on top of just the, like, light snack stuff that I had. It made a world of difference. Well, I don't typically even get that much sleep, but I normally get between 2 and 3 hours of sleep a night, but I did a half day of work, and I knew that I was going to need to get some sleep before the stream. So, because if I didn't, I'd be fine for the first significant portion of it, and then I would literally die probably about halfway. I would just not be able to focus. Not even caffeine would be able to snap me in. And that one I had a lot more fun. So far, the theme of my 24-hour streams is I've had severe insomnia my entire life. So, although I don't have a whole lot of energy for much more than my daily activities, what I do is if I know I'm going to be doing something extremely physically demanding, what I'll do is I'll make sure that I'm just eating a little bit better. Aside from that, that's just kind of what I'm used to. And depending on the jobs that I've had, it'll fluctuate from like 3 to 4 for some of the more physically demanding jobs that I had. Like when I was a preschool teacher, that was preschool, by the way, surprisingly physically demanding. I mean, anyone who's ever had a toddler knows how much energy and time they take up. Now imagine 3 adults with 30 toddlers. So that one was closer to like 3 to 4 hours a night when I was working as a janitor, because that took no mental energy to be a janitor, like literally none. It was just physical energy. I could get away with like an hour on some nights and be totally fine. Oh god. Yes. But that 4 or 5 hour nap was, I knew I wouldn't sleep that whole time. I think I only slept for 3 of those 5 hours, but just like lying there in the dark, not having to like worry or do anything, just relaxing, really helped recharge my batteries physically and mentally for that stream. And I don't have I didn't save any of the footage on the 24-hour streams. I really should have, but I didn't. I didn't have I didn't think about it at the time. So I wasn't recording same time that I'm streaming like I normally do. But it was very fun. But I came down to a kind of a formula, which is start with a horror game, because horror games are typically more mentally and emotionally taxing. So get that out of the way first while I'm fresh, and then go through and do whatever else I'm going to do during the 24 hours. That seemed to work pretty well. Although, the Outlast, like the first Outlast had a couple of like actual scary parts, but otherwise was just like really stressful. And Whistleblower, not even that.
Come on, Light.
I was actually, like, the story of Whistleblower was fine, but in terms of the actual like atmosphere and gameplay, it was a little disappointing. Oh, hey, yeah, we're supposed to be doing Super Soldier right out the gate for fights like this. So, I'm thinking that for my next goal of either 100 followers will be another 24-hour stream with a giveaway at the end, at the very end. Just kind of mixing things up a little bit. But we're a ways off from that, so I don't have to worry about that yet. Right now, we've still got a bonus stream and giveaway to take care of at the end of the month. And right after that second 24-hour stream, which was what, during Final Fantasy. Do I have one Stool Ravager? I do not. I know Ravager typically builds it up faster, but Commando decreases the down tick, right? So Ravager builds it up faster, but Commando slows down the recovery of the stagger, which is why I think, don't quote me on that, I didn't pay attention during any of the tutorials in this game, so I could be wrong there. Okay. So that's why I like to mix them, the Ravager Commando combo. I just wish we had a third character on our team. That's my biggest thing that I don't like about this right now, is we don't have a third.
Look at us. Pulseless sea, using a sanctum fallacy to tell where we're going. Sort of strange.
Really.
And since that second 24-hour stream, we grew a lot slower. Reaching that essentially doubling from 25 up to 50 was a lot slower.
You know,
but
I think Cocoon was really built for them.
I'm glad in a way, because
We're just leeches.
if we had continued that growth rate that we had from 10 to 25, we would be I'd be doing giveaways or 24-hour streams or something like that every 2 months.
Almost like.
And that is untenable for me at the moment. Having a full-time job, plus doing a bunch of like art and stuff here for the channel and for a couple of my friends.
Just pets. That's it.
Stuff like that takes up a lot of time.
I've been so blind.
I would
I was
certainly
born
not
into a
mind
falsy
reaching the
world,
point where I'm
raised on a
only
falsy
streaming.
leash.
That would be awesome. That'd be amazing.
It was the only
But
life I knew how to live.
it's not that it's an
When it was
unrealistic goal.
I was
But
completely lost.
It's the type of thing that you don't set out
Without
to
a
do.
master to follow. My
If
life
people like you enough
had
to
no
make that
purpose.
happen for you, congratulations.
Hope, listen to me.
And you should always strive to put on the best stream
This
that you
Lycian
can.
curse,
But
it took everything from me. My future, my dreams. I didn't want to think.
I don't
So
think
I
that
fought
setting out to
instead.
become a pro
As long as
streamer
I was fighting, nothing else was
is
real.
the correct mindset.
I was running away.
Set out to be interesting and doing the best that you can, and
You
letting
got
it
swept
happen.
along with me.
That's the way to go.
But like,
Um,
don't understand.
for a while I had a Patreon up, but
Operation Nora is over.
like I couldn't figure out exactly what.
No! You told me to fight!
I made a mistake!
But I couldn't figure out what
You can't do this. You can't just
like what kind
put
of
something up like that. Then abandon it.
Patreon goals or stretch goals or anything like that
I won't
to
abandon
really, like, as incentives. Like I couldn't come up with something to me that felt like good incentives for a Patreon, so
You can't just throw in the towel.
I stopped. I wasn't initially going to stop the Patreon, but then I was just going to leave it up there and kind of work on it slowly. The reason I stopped my Patreon is because of the thing that they did with the payments and the changing how that worked, and
Take this!
it was like they did a lot of inroads to rebuild that trust with a lot of people who kind of live on their Patreon or their patrons, but I don't think that they built that trust back up enough, and so I deleted my Patreon, and I'll probably work on it at some point in the near future, but I've got a lot of projects in mind. Like I'm gonna change my title card and splash imagery. I need to go back in and change the emotes again so I can getting rid of the words and resubmitting those, because you can't read those, which is a shame. I mean, it didn't take very long after doing the images. I mean, adding the words was almost nothing, but still, it's disappointing it didn't really work out. Streaming is really interesting. What I find most interesting about it is that once I got back into it, it's all I wanted to do. Like when I would be at work, I would be doing a portion of my shift where I watch the security cameras, or even on my patrols. And even though like things are interesting enough to keep my attention, all I want to do is be streaming. And I don't even have a bad job. My job is pretty good for security guards in this area, but all I found myself wanting to do is stream. Like when I get home, the first thing I do after turning my computer on is I throw up all my sorry microphone. Is I put up all my get everything ready, throw up my tweet, throw up
If we can't follow the plan, do we
like
just lay
throw
down
up
and
my
die?
I didn't
link
mean we should
into
give up.
a
Then
few
what battles do we
other
fight?
social
And against
medias,
who? Tell me that.
I don't know yet.
get everything
You
ready,
don't know yet.
and then I
That's
go.
right.
Typically,
I don't know yet. But
I go
do
and see
know
if there's
we can't
coffee,
lose hope.
and I'll usually have a cup and then
There is
have
no
to make
hope.
another pot.
Not for Lassie.
Or I'll
There's
get
you.
some food, if depending on how big my
It's my
lunch was
name.
or something like that.
Not who I am.
I was just like you.
And just sit down and get ready for
My
it.
parents died. I had to be strong for Sarah, so I thought I needed to forget my past. And I became Lightning. I thought that by changing my name, I
And
could
so,
change
like,
who I was.
I spend my entire time that I'm at home
I was just
revolving
a kid.
around my stream.
Lightning.
And
It flashes bright, then fades away.
I like
can't
it that
protect.
way.
It only destroys.
I've been thinking about expanding my streaming hours, but because currently my job is the
Sarah tried to tell me.
timetable is unpredictable. I don't want to
But I wouldn't listen.
like push for something that I know I can't, or that I might not be able to keep. Like, they just recently changed my schedule a little bit, so that 3 days a week I'm working earlier and 2 days a week I'm working later.
It's my job to deal with you.
Typical.
So, like, I was like, oh man, I really hope this doesn't screw over
Come on, Slowpoke.
what I want to do,
Sorry. Got
but
held up.
thankfully it didn't.
Where have you been?
Not yet, anyway.
Really late, huh?
Because I like the time slot that I'm at,
Only one who believed her was
and
Snow.
I don't want to give it up.
Don't say his name. It brings everything back. I keep playing it in my head. What happened to her?
Oh, Hope.
And then I see his stupid face and he's smiling.
Oh, speaking of
How can he
throwing
smile
stuff
when
up
she's
on
dead?
like social medias and
I know.
whatnot, if you're not following
nothing
me
I
on
can do
Twitter,
about
you
it.
probably should, if
He
only
knows.
for the fact that I
matter
try
what
to be
happens,
funny with
She's
my
not coming back.
tweets that are announcing
When I was fighting, there was no
the,
time to think about it.
my
It
going
felt good
live.
just to give in.
Um,
But now you
they're
Stop
not always
talking about
successful,
hope.
but I try, damn it. On top of that, if I have to make any changes to anything, to the schedule, or if I'm sick or anything like that, that's
I'm
going to be
sorry,
the
I
first
messed
place you're going to find out, is on my Twitter. So
It's my
if you're
fault.
not following me on Twitter and you have a Twitter, you probably should, if you want to get those kinds of updates. If not, that's fine. If you don't have a Twitter, whatever. I didn't have a Twitter for a long time until... Actually, what got me into Twitter is somebody showed me some tweets that George Takei was putting out. And they were hilarious. So I joined so that I could follow George Takei. I later stopped following George Takei, not because he stopped being funny, but because I started following a whole bunch of people relating to magic. And my Twitter feed was a little overwhelming. I also cut back on the number of magic personalities that I followed. I used to follow like 25 people relating to Magic the Gathering, either pros or wizard staff. I think I've cut that down to like a total of 10. I'd have to look. But it was really bad for a while. Like I couldn't keep up with it. It was just ridiculous. All right, so that's done. I don't do many retweets. I don't do many. Actually, I don't do much with my Twitter aside from stuff involving my own channel. Every once in a while you'll see a retweet, or you'll see me throw something up, maybe on someone else's page. Usually encouragement, like if somebody that I follow that I have a vested interest in is having like a really like rough time with something, I usually try and give them a little encouragement, but that's, aside from my own personal stuff, that's about all I really use Twitter for anymore. Keeping up with Magic and broadcasting the updates to my own channel. I should probably do more with it,
Talk to your dad.
but
What? Why?
Fighting without hope is no way to live.
I think that I've got a better forum
just
to
a way to
express my
die.
ideas and whatnot here than I could possibly put into
I want
144 characters.
To find the hope you were named for. Staying alive, I can help you with. But I can't give you hope. If you go to see your father,
You think meeting my dad will will make anything better?
It might. You never know.
He's never listened to a word I've said.
I doubt that.
He'll never believe all this Lassie stuff.
Parents, even if you think they're not paying very close attention, typically are paying a lot
Snow
more
believes
attention
Sarah,
than
didn't
you believe. Although not all parents. Some parents are not attentive at all. I get that. Usually if it's something that they don't have their own interest in, some parents will tune things out. Some are even worse than that. But most parents, I'm willing to just throw that out there. What?
The military plans to apprehend the Lassie and carry out a public execution.
Damn.
These images coming to you live from the scene in Palampolo.
Huh. Live footage. I want to shoot that out of the sky, lightning. Well, that's...
These are Lassie. Show no mercy.
That looks pretty bad.
They're targets.
I guess it's time to summon Odin.
Start running.
What?
I'll keep him busy.
But...
You survive.
She has Odin. She's good. Oh, that we finally see snow again?
That's some crowd. Gonna need a plan.
Since when have heroes ever needed plans?
Aha.
Thing.
Huh?
So, how do you guys like motorcycles? And how do you like gods of destruction, or a goddess of destruction, being split into two characters that then turn into a motorcycle?
Take us out!
Personally, I'm not a big fan of the goddess of destruction turning into a Harley, but actually not even a Harley. It looks kind of like a victory, though.
Lightning!
Also, he got over his weird sort of hate relationship with Fang pretty easy.
Whoa!
Take care of him.
Lightning, listen to me.
Get moving.
No, you don't understand. Sarah's all right. She'll turn back.
Take care of Hope.
Wait!
Well,
And then there were three.
yeah, a lot of those guys aren't dead.
Gotta go. So how you been?
Snow's completely oblivious to the fact. Snow's completely oblivious to the fact that Hope really doesn't like... Oh, good job.
Take cover! I got this one.
Do you?
That's it! Yeah! It's on!
Alright, there we go.
Cool him off!
The only ability that matters, Diamond Dust.
Way to go.
You know, Snow, you're a pretty tough guy. Like, you take some pretty heavy hits and don't really flinch. But, and you hit really hard for just fists. But this is a mech. I don't think you know exactly what that means. Well, that'll give us a little bit of extra time. Man. Oh, that doesn't look good. Hey, we dodged it by being out of the way. Dodge back. Oh, shit. Damn it. Didn't heal fast enough.
Not yet.
For some reason, I was kind of expecting Hope to jump in. Oh, this will be nice. These are some big bonuses. I mean, he has been away from our team for a long time, but still. Alright, so it's Commando. And now it's time to do the thing that should hopefully get us some really big stat ups on, especially defensive. Ooh, and a second accessory slot? Heck yeah. Alright. Wow. That almost completely topped him off. Yep, that's still the best. An Iron Bangle? Nope. What do we got? You know, let's go with silver. That'll work. And then lightning resist. That's probably the best. There we go. Now let's try this again. Let's just spin freeze all day.
Let's do this.
Running out of.
That's it.
Alright, there we go. Diamond Dust again.
Cool him off.
Which should kill everything but the giant mech man. I mean, that's a fair amount of damage that he was doing. And also, now we have over 1,000 hit points.
Here.
And he's only doing 1 to 2 damage with his spark attack, so I'm happy with that. It'll take him a lot longer to do any significant damage to Snow. Whew. Man, that one hurt. It's a good thing we're cutting that down by 25%. Wow. And it takes one of my attacks off the list. Alright. Does Sentinel have healing? I don't recall if it does or not. Well, provoking isn't really going to help. Can I even... Because I have to just constantly be healing myself, can I even win this fight right now? I mean, I guess I'm making headway on the damage that he's doing. And I'm also using up potions like crazy. Although I haven't spent really any money, so maybe I'll just buy a whole hell of a lot of potions. There we go. We're more or less reset. God damn. Hope, are you really not getting in on this? Because I could really just use someone to hang back and cast Cure on me. Wow, he dodged a lot of attacks. Like, a lot of attacks. There we go. Good job, Snow. I wasn't going to waste any TP on summoning them again. That'd be dumb.
What's up?
Where have you been?
I'm going to stab you.
I got taken in.
Wait, what?
Not by enemies. It was the cavalry, not SciComm. Leader's name is Rains. He said he'd lend us Lassie a hand. So now, your hero is back.
Why would the army help us? That doesn't make sense.
That's a very good question.
The military's got all kinds. Not all of them like the Sanctum. Don't worry. I'll handle the bad guys. Come on.
Maybe he doesn't want you to handle the bad guys. Or maybe he does. Maybe he specifically wants you to handle the bad guys. Commando and Ravager, huh? Well, we'll see about that. It's probably going to be Commando and Healing, and then Sentinel and Healing, and then Sentinel and Ravager. Because those are going to be... And then... Ravager and Ravager? Yeah, those are probably going to be my best ones. Alright, so Commando and Ravager, sure. Commando and Medic. Sentinel and Medic. Sentinel and Synergist. Ravager and Ravager. And then Sentinel and Ravager. There we go. That's pretty much all the ones we will probably ever need.
Is that some kind of Lassie power?
I mean, kind of. I mean, I wouldn't really call... Ooh, got a whole... Oh, no, we already had this. That's right. Creature Comforts. What's this one? Okay, so it's more upgrading materials. Magic Moments. Cast Shell when the HP is low. Functions only once per battle. Well, that sucks. And cast Veil. What is Veil? I could probably look it up. Resist poison, de-shell, de-protect, magic, physical. Up to tungsten? That might be worth buying. Alright, so let's see here. Strength down for magic up? Nope. And then Unicorn Mart has got something new. Holy Water, which removes curse. Alright, so what if we bump antidotes up to 30. Holy Water up to 30. Phoenix Downs up to 20. And then we'll spend the rest on potions. There we go. That'll serve us well. Actually, that, until we get the ability to buy high potions, will probably be all the buying we'll need to do for a very long time. So let's see here. Yeah, you, Mr. Bombardment. No, yeah, we're gonna take you out. Because you have a rocket launcher. And rocket launchers in video games usually are big splash damage weapons. There we go. Now he's totally screwed. Did you miss an attack, Snow? Good. Alright. So now, War and Peace. Let's make it happen, Captain. Hope, please heal thyself.
How about this?
You know, it's interesting that they did something different in this Final Fantasy in that they made... I mean, they also kind of did it in 10 in that they made stats more important than the equipment that you're wearing. I mean, obviously, like, some of the accessories that we can get are ridiculous for what we have available to us. Plus 150 life, like, in most Final Fantasy games you kind of laugh that off, but we're a ways into this, and that is still relevant, so... I mean, I guess that's something. But making this more stat-based as opposed to equipment-based, as opposed to most early Final Fantasies, that's something. It means our characters are more important than their gear. But at the same time, our level ups don't give us any agency.
No retreat.
Yeah, I forgot. Not you. We want him.
How about this?
We need to burn this guy to the ground. And I'm a big proponent of agency in video games. Or just in any game, really.
Well, come on!
Thanks, Hope.
Anytime.
Agency is a pretty important thing. Making us feel like we have choices. Even if we really don't. Just making it feel like we have choices is a big deal. God, these guys are pretty rough. There we go. Man, that launcher, like, really messes people up.
Thanks, Hope.
If only because they don't get to build towards their own counterattack until they hit the ground.
You see that?
So,
How about this? How about this?
alright, thank you, Hope. Now can you please burn this guy down? Thank you. Well, I mean, he didn't really burn him down. He struck him with a bunch of lightning, but it worked out to be about the same. Oh, wow. That's a whole bunch of guys. The illusion of choice is better than no choice at all. Until you find out. And then it's worse. But game companies have been really clever at hiding stuff like that. Especially as the years have gone on. Hiding how little choice we have. Which some people would consider, like, not being good. They would consider it very bad that effectively video game companies are lying to us with the amount of choice that we're given. But the way I see it is that would you rather... So I want to say the biggest incident of this is specifically the Mass Effect 3 endings thing. Which are all just different colors. Because we were told that our choices would matter, and then our choices really didn't matter in terms of the climax of the story. So they gave us a whole bunch of choices, but then the choices didn't end up mattering. But during the time, you felt like in 1 and 2, you felt like this was all amazing, awesome stuff. They're giving you lots of decision points and choices to make. And then, of course, in Mass Effect 3, when you finally get to the very end, your ending more or less comes down to just a couple of things that happen throughout the game, throughout Mass Effect 3, and your conversation with that entity. And a lot of people were extremely disappointed. However, I posit that this is one of those the journey outweighs the destination sort of things. And that, yeah, sure, all these decisions you made ultimately didn't have any say on the actual ending of the game. Because there's no way for the writing team of Mass Effect to potentially look into from Mass Effect 1 to look into the future of all the way into Mass Effect 3 and figure out all the potential options that you had and what those ramifications would be. That was an unrealistically lofty goal that the fans set on them. Now, should there have maybe been a little bit more? Probably.
There's nothing we can't do.
But I still say that what people expected of BioWare was a little unfair.
How about this?
Come on.
How about this?
Get that stagger off. I know you need the healing, but ooh,
How about this?
that was so close. 29. Did that last hit literally build up
It's me you
nothing?
want. How about this?
That's a
Thanks,
like talk
partner.
about disappointment, but building up no stagger? Damn. That's okay though.
It's all about teamwork.
Take this sucker down. I mean, best we can. We got about half of his life gone. That's pretty good, right?
How about this?
Alright, start healing, my boy. We are gonna need it. He's gonna drop the bomb on us. Well, more on you, but still. Christ. These sergeants, Warlord, are pretty baller. Why can't I play as one of them? I mean, they get ridiculous looking armor, kind of a fairly ridiculous weapon, and some pretty powerful magic. I mean, I'm okay with looking ridiculous and having a ridiculous weapon for powerful magic. Alright, he's down. Alright, now these guys can just go away. So is he punching him when he launches him in the air? Because it kind of looks like he's lightly toe kicking him. I mean, I guess he doesn't really have any kicks. He just punches, but still. Yeah, more credit chips. Actually, I wonder how many of those I have. I've not checked my inventory for selling stuff in quite a while. Alright, let's go up here and see what enemies await us. Oh, hey, look, there's some right there. Hi, guys. How you doing? Just thought I'd drop in and mess you up.
How about this?
Oh, yeah, you're totally screwed, man.
How about this?
guess he does have a kick in there. I mean, it's a really lame kick, but he's got one.
How about this?
You know, I don't know how many of you play Tekken.
Just too
God, I
easy.
can't remember the character's name, and he was the character that I mained. The boxer, just the straight up boxer, who would, all he would do is throw punches. So Tekken, if you're not in the fighting game community, is most famous for your buttons being Steve. Thank you. Is most famous for the buttons corresponding to how, like, your top buttons are your punches and your bottom buttons are your kicks. Steve only has a couple of very weak kicks. Otherwise, all of his attacks are punches. And what happens when you use your feet buttons is he plants his feet, and it allows you for more options in placing your torso for different attacks and dodgings of attacks. It's really fun, super interesting, and way more different than anything else in Tekken. And even though I'm not a huge fan of Tekken, I will say that it's more intuitive in its controls than most other fighting games if you're not an enfranchised fighting game player. If you've spent a lot of time, however, playing MVC or Street Fighter, Tekken is going to be a little rough for you. If only because it is so different. Alright, Hope, can you please get your hit points out of the gutter?
How about this? Later.
I also like the fact that Steve had a like an interesting friendship with
Thanks, Hope.
someone who does TKD and has very few punches. So a guy that kicks, pretty much only kicks, and a guy that pretty much only throws punches. Great friends.
Thanks, partner.
And if you're wondering who that is, it's How Wrong. If you're only kind of tangentially
That's what I'm talking
knowledgeable about Tekken.
It's just a part of Operation Nora.
Hi, kid. How do you know about Operation Nora? Paladin. That sounds pretty cool. Improved guard. 43, huh? Yeah, sure. When he's doing his sentinel thing, he's gonna be better at it.
Just waiting for the right moment.
My favorite fighting game to date, has been the Blaze Blue series, despite how
Fight,
ridiculous
and
it
we
is.
survive.
You know what, we're gonna get rid of the Predator first, and then we'll worry about one of the two weaker enemies,
How about this?
and then we'll do the Warlord.
Hope, follow my lead.
Just because I want to eliminate a bunch of tangential damage from Hope and Snow before we get on to the big bad of this fight. Nope. Warlord.
Thanks, partner.
Roland, who you may recall from my first 24-hour stream, my housemate, is a big fan in Tekken of, or used to be. He hasn't played a Tekken in a while, of Lang was his favorite character.
How about this?
But he got good with most of them. And though some of the things have changed in Tekken, he's still pretty on it. Hey, let's do a little bit of this for a moment. Got our synergy up. And then one more, and then we'll go back and burn him down. Or Trogdor. But I really like the Blaze Blue series, despite it being completely ridiculous. With my favorite storyline character being... oh, crap. I'm really bad at names tonight. The cat. Not Taukaka. And then my favorite character to play as was Hakumen. Which, if you know anything about the Japanese language, is kind of funny because one of the characters' name is Jin. And Jin later, in the future past, there's a weird time travel storyline. Becomes Hakumen. And Hakujin is a word in Japanese that means white person. And, well, his other name is Hakumen. M-A-N, Hakuman. So, white man. So, it's kind of interesting little bit of trivia there. That really doesn't mean anything, just, like I said, a little interesting. But one of my buddies was able to read me like a book while I was playing Hakumen, because I almost always do jump-ins. That's from my days of MVC. Marvel vs. Capcom. Where jump-ins were a viable strategy for most characters, but because most enemies don't have, or most characters don't have ways of punishing jump-ins to the degree that characters in Blaze Blue do. And I couldn't break myself of that habit. And because of that, well, I got dunked on a lot. We only got a couple of credit chips. An incentive chip, though, that's worth a lot. Let's see, what time is it? 8:30, so I have a feeling we're probably getting close to a boss. Oh yeah, let's not save yet. Let us first hit the Crystarium and see what we can do here. Okay, well, he's effectively got that one done. And Hope. Hope needs a lot. Well, Let's see how far we can get on Ravager. Not very. So if you're wondering why I haven't done much grinding in this game, is not because I couldn't grind. I could grind on this pretty easily. The problem is that you never know when there's going to be a story element just like dropping in your lap in this game. So I haven't been grinding because right now we're in a big push on the storyline. And the way this game is paced itself is you just keep pushing forward.
Seems like
They've
you've toughened up.
done a couple of things to do this. By
I had to.
only having
The only ones
the
that aren't
areas be
fighting
small
armor
corridors.
Are us dumb grown-ups.
There's no exploring. There's just going
You think
forward.
it's stupid to fight?
It is if you get killed. Anyway.
He's
just
totally
lay
gonna
low.
stab you,
Let
and
the
I'm
dummies
gonna
do it.
laugh. Not because stabbing someone inherently
no
is
match
funny,
for Nora,
but because
right?
you have done a lot to piss off this kid. And the knife that he's gonna stab you with is the
He's
knife
smiling.
that Sarah gave to Lightning. And you probably helped pick out.
It's me. What's up?
You damn well know what's up!
Why haven't you called in?
Sorry. Slipped my mind.
Right. What's your status?
Great. Great. Hope's great too. Are you alright?
I'm great, you're great, everybody's great. Reunion time. Figure out a rendezvous point. Don't sweat it. That line's hyper-encrypted.
Hyper encrypted. Ooh.
Hey, sis. Is that you?
I'm not your sister.
Oh, good. For a second there, I thought we were going to get another flashback.
This city's under our jurisdiction. We're the ones defending it. We should have a say in what's done to protect it.
Attention all units. Ignore all fire zone restrictions.
Whoa.
Fire at will.
What?
Whatever it takes to kill the Lassie. Over.
Whatever it takes. You want to start a war in the streets? Civilians are still evacuating. The collateral we're talking about is unacceptable. You don't know what it's like out there.
You don't understand why we're here. Who do you think it is? Terrified of Pulse and begging us to kill the Lassie. It's not the Sanctum. It's not us. It's the people.
Are they? Are they really, though?
We'll meet at Hope's place. Felix Heights, 35A.
Right. See you there. Tell Fang hey.
Take care of Hope.
All over it. And I'll tell you more about Sarah when we meet up. I found out she can turn back. There's still hope.
Snow,
Is there?
listen to me. It's about Hope. His mother was...
It's me.
Hope? Hope! Answer me! Hope!
Yelling doesn't fix it. It's called interference.
But it's a
We
phone.
can chit-chat when we get there.
You do yell into it, and when you get angry, you push the buttons really hard, and
see if you
then
can't
when you're
cool
angry with
off
the
that
person you're
interviews.
talking to, you slam it on the receiver. That's something I kind of miss about old phones as opposed to having cell phones. How did we get in here? Did we get cornered in here, and the enemy is not coming to get us? Is that what happened? Because that would be really dumb. Commando, Sentinel, and Saboteur. Interesting. Well, let's see if we can't get her other accessory. Nope. Damn. Alright, and Lightning, what have you got to level up? Done with Commando. Nowhere near done with that. Nowhere near done with this either. All right. Hey, Wicked, welcome back. Thanks for that host again. I don't know if you heard me when I thanked you the first time. Alright, so now... Balanced Lance, huh? Improves potions, water defense, curse. Well, I guess we'll go with the 50 HP. And what paradigms do we have to work with? Commando, Ravager, Sentinel Commando, Sentinel Medic, Saboteur. And Commando. Yeah, that looks like good enough. I guess I could do Saboteur and Ravager, but eh. Alright, so let's save here and see what we have to run up against. I was kind of expecting there to be a boss fight soon, but I mean, it still probably is soon, but I thought it was going to be sooner than it turns out it is. Ooh, should I have one set up that's dual commanders? Or commandos? Probably not. That seems a little excessive. Also, Feng doesn't seem like she's going to be a great sentinel. She doesn't have the hit points that Snow or Zaz have. So you're waiting for the wrong game. They did all the outfits in Lightning Returns. And I'm not joking. Okay, well, slow she doesn't need any more slow. So let's go back to slash and burn. Nope. Never mind. It's over. Oh, hey there, Mr. Giant Robot. How you doing? Were we able to surprise him from the front? We were. Oh, he's totally screwed now. Come on. We got this. It's just a giant robot man with an electrified arm. What's the big deal? Mechanically, no. Mechanically, it's the same. One thing that I've always kind of been interested in, as far as this game, is not even the overarching story, but the small character moments in this, especially Lightning's, are really good. The problem is that they're few and far between, and eventually there aren't any more like small character developments, because the characters pretty much go through their entire arc, and that's pretty much where I stopped before. I hit a wall with an enemy, and I was already kind of on the verge of not. I did. I responded to it. And then D-Guns responded immediately after me. It was very to the point, and I like that.
Eat this.
I like it. If only we had a good medic on our team. Like maybe one of two people that had like good healing spells. I'd have to watch it a few more times and specifically be looking for things to change if I to give you some advice in that area, but just from what I saw, it looked fine.
Who are you?
You should have asked that earlier.
Where do I start? I've got a few screws loose, but I'm a Lassie, same as you.
Hmm?
Difference being, I wasn't born on Cocoon. I'm from Grand Pulse, the world below you all hate so much. My partner and I turned a crystal there and gone to sleep. But
for eternity.
When we came around, here we were. The reason Cocoon's in such an uproar is the same reason you're here now. Vanille and I woke up.
Ooh. They just dropped it like that? I don't know. Dropping that kind of bombshells Actually, they've been hinting at Vanille being an awoken Lassie for a long time now, and being from Grand Pulse.
The Sanctum follows Val C orders. It's not just after Lassie. They'll target civilians and purge everyone who's a threat.
Of course they will.
More innocents get killed.
You can't take the blame for that.
Someone has to.
If I had to change anything about the scenes that you currently have, I would... I mean, I know you don't have Photoshop, so it's a little bit harder for you to do this right now. But I would try and apply a filter to make it a little bit more like the stuff that you put in, but I like the idea.
So, Hope, are you with me on this? You just need to look out for yourself.
Just needs to look out for himself, huh? I think he can do that.
There goes nothing.
All right, now we're back to these guys. Yeah, that would probably work. Is that the only thing he has left to get? Yes, it is. All right, does... Oh, he definitely has some stuff to get. I can't remember what, but I do remember he has some stuff to pick up. Some Ravager... Oh. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff, actually. They do offer us a lot of save options, which is kind of nice.
A state of emergency has been declared.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nothing to worry about.
That's all that... Yeah, you know what? I was actually talking about this earlier. As long as you go into this sort of thing and do the best that you can, people like it or they won't, and there's not a whole lot you can do outside of the best that you have to offer to change their mind.
Nice one.
And honestly, if people don't like your best... Let's see here. I think I've only used one curse word in the hour and a half, so I can go ahead and use another one. Fuck him. I know I don't always stick to the PG-13 thing, but I attempt to.
Sanctum military operations will be commencing within this area momentarily. For your own safety, a mandatory citywide evacuation has been ordered. Please remain calm and proceed as
What's over here, precious? Anything?
any suspicious activity. Please alert the nearest uniformed soldier.
Oh, is this just a way of getting around to try and, yeah, get behind him? Oh, I know. I was early on. I was really bad. But I decided that it's overall better for me because of my a lot of the games that I'm playing, especially early on, are a lot more potentially child friendly, and actually a lot of stuff later on too. So if I want to appeal to all audiences, I should probably try at least to curse as infrequently as possible. But if you go back and watch like my Final Fantasy 3 and Final Fantasy 4 stuff, it is bad. It's like every other word. It's excessive. But to a lesser degree, that's kind of how I talk when not on stream. Or at work. At work, I try my best not to curse as well, because even though I'm a security guard, I do have a lot of public interaction as well. So, I try. Hey, we punched your guards into non-existence.
I've got enough problems to let you cause any more. Soldiers all left. I can sneak out.
The first time that I ever really had to filter myself was back when I was a preschool teacher, so I've learned how to have a pretty good filter for this sort of thing, but and just in general, like I curse less than I used to, but it's still pretty bad. I definitely still talk like a sailor. I used to drink like one too, but not so much anymore.
You see that?
So most of my, like, after my heavy partying years of like 16 to 25, after about that time period, I didn't really drink a whole lot socially. Like, I didn't go to parties or stuff like that very frequently. But in one of the role-playing games that I would play in, it was very frequent for us to have cocktails. Usually pretty nice cocktails. And they were usually pretty heavy cocktails, so I built up a really strong tolerance. So then I stopped, well, when the game stopped happening, because just couldn't get people together as frequently as we used to.
You see that?
I get that. We don't drink a whole lot. Like I've got a bottle about half full of Jack Daniels on the shelf back there from our night of drinking whiskey and playing the 12 when I thought we were going to end it. Even went long and still wasn't quite able to complete it. but that's fine. That happens.
How about this?
So I still enjoy drinking, but it's definitely very different. Now, typically when I drink, I either only have like one, maybe two liquor-based drinks, or I'll pick up a 6-pack, or sometimes not even some 6-pack. Sometimes only like 2 or 3 like really nice beers that I like, and I'll have those.
How about this?
That's actually my preferred, is to like cherry pick like 3 or 4 nice beers. For a while, that was actually something that I was thinking about adding to the stream, is like once a week or something like that, like going to the local bottle shop, which is very close to where I live, and picking out different beers and trying them out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Especially foreign beers. Foreign beers, a lot of them, depending on the country they come from, have a lot of similar notes. But you can usually find some like really nice beers. You would probably be a good cider drinker then. You'd probably really like some hard ciders.
Not good.
Yep, that's a lot of civilians.
Is there a problem? Now why don't you just calm down? Now what's going on?
Yeah, you'd probably like ciders.
I've got you.
I am a Pulse Lassie! I'm here to kill you all!
What are you doing?
Trying to scare people away.
Clearing the area.
They'll open fire on a crowd.
Doesn't matter who dies. Just wipe them all out.
That is definitely something they seem to be willing to do, considering we heard one of their generals give the order to open fire regardless. Alright, so aerial snipers. These guys seem to have pretty fast-firing weapons for snipers. Oh shit.
Oh, follow my lead!
Well, there goes Hope.
Let's do this, Hope!
Is that the one we were fighting before? No, it wasn't.
Thanks, partner.
You. That's the one we were fighting before. Not that it matters, because you're all pretty high up there in health.
How about this?
Am I supposed to do Ravager and Sentinel here or something? Because
Thanks, Hope.
that seems like it would work, except the damage output
How about this?
would be roughly about the same. I don't know. This.
You see that?
So we're gonna go till this fight, and we might have to run back to our previous save point. We'll see.
How about this?
Depends on if there's another one pretty close ahead. They tend to be pretty generous with the save points, which is nice. From a modern gaming perspective.
How about this?
Ooh, actually, that's a good topic that we haven't really touched on much during our Final Fantasy 13 playthrough, is old games versus new games and some of the changes made between the different styles, and what some of the changes seem to be made for. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. That's a pretty interesting little topic idea. That has a lot more potential than my storytelling idea, my storytelling topping. Or my experiences as a streamer thus far topic. Alright, so there's some more guys. Where was our last save point? Well, those guys are back. Can I view the map? I cannot. Okay. Well, then I guess we're pushing forward. Go ahead. If you want. I'm certainly not going to make you. But if you want a forum, this is as good a place as any. I mean, I know you have 2 shows that you can tell those stories on, but... It's a good story. It's got a nice beginning and a solid end. It really hits home, you know, that kind of story. Feels like it could be me. I really empathize with it. Now, these rockets are rough, man. Alright, well, one of these guys is going down, and then we'll probably have to heal. Let's see here. I mean, Snow has a lot of hit points. He's a very good meat wall to have to burn through. You know, maybe I should change back. I really haven't been... Or when they say guard, did they mean... Man, I don't know where you come up with these, but that one was chilling. Hey, look at that. Now he's a good Ravager. Alright. Can we finish? No, we... Wow. Alright, man. He needs a lot. Hope is having level problems. It looks like we're gonna go a little long.
Hey. You okay?
Leave her alone!
Save the girl! Call the army!
Don't you touch her!
Protect Cocoon!
This may have backfired on you. Poor little carbuncle.
Eddie, you're okay now.
This is our town. Get out of here.
Oh, great.
You better run, sea scum. No mercy. We can take
Really? Because he can cast magic. If I saw someone just... Hell, if I was getting ready to fight someone and I saw their hands glow, I would immediately back out and be like, whoa, dude, there is something weird with you, and I don't want any part of it.
I'm sorry.
Time to go.
Stop them! Empty those clearance! Fire!
Do you know what you're doing? Because you don't seem to have any, what's the word that I'm looking for? Control over the situation. Okay, so that's another vehicle Snow's messed up.
Gotta stay ahead of them. We walk from here. Time's a wasting.
Oh, hey, there's a save point. So, we're going to go ahead and call it here for tonight. Hey, you guys can curse all you want. That's not going to be on in the archive. So, I want to thank everyone for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I especially want to thank Wicked and Mr. Henry and Twan for participating in chat tonight. Remember that on March 31st, that is a Saturday, we are going to be having ourselves that bonus stream and giveaway where we will be playing Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 3, giving away a copy of it along with a copy of Psychonauts and 3 $20 Steam gift cards. So if you take that link and go to the events page, there you can set yourself a reminder, and I'll be putting more details into it soon, probably over this weekend. Also, we are partners with Humble. So if you take that link right there, that'll take you to the Humble homepage where you can sign up for Humble Monthly, pick out a Humble bundle, or even just peruse the Humble store. All purchases made by using that link not only support charity and not only get you an awesome game, but also help this channel. Currently, all proceeds will be working towards improving our lighting situation. So, so if you're interested in anything over there, also, frequently they have sales that don't line up with the normal sales that you'll see on Steam or Uplay or Origin. So if you're looking for a particular game on sale, you should check them out as well. They usually have pretty good deals. And lastly, I hope you guys will join me tomorrow, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific time, for more Final Fantasy 13, and we will see what happens next in this crazy little rebellion story. Hope you guys have a good night, and I hope to see you tomorrow.